What if the reason your heart feels heavy this morning has nothing to do with what you are facing and everything to do with what you forgot before the day began? Before the world asks anything of you, before the noise starts pulling at your attention, there is this quiet moment. And in this moment, you are not broken. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are simply standing at the doorway of a new day, carrying thoughts you did not choose and worries you did not invite. The tiredness you feel is not just in your body, it is deeper than that. It is the weight of waking up already bracing yourself for life. And that weight can make even the morning feel overwhelming. But here is the truth that rarely gets said. You were never meant to enter this day alone. Not with your strength, not with your understanding, not with your control. The pressure you feel right now comes from trying to hold everything together by yourself, and that is exhausting. Anyone would feel worn down living that way. There is a presence available to you right now that changes how this day unfolds. Not later, not after things improve. Right now, in the middle of your uncertainty, when you pause and acknowledge God's presence, something subtle but powerful happens inside you. Your nervous system settles, your breathing slows, your heart remembers that it is safe. Gratitude does that. It shifts your mind out of survival mode and into awareness, and awareness is where peace begins. Thank God for being here this morning, not because everything is perfect, but because He is present. Presence is the foundation of peace. When you recognize that you are not alone, fear loses its authority. The mind stops racing ahead to problems that have not even arrived yet. The soul stops carrying burdens it was never designed to carry. This moment is not small. It is a reset point, a quiet realignment of the heart. When you give thanks before the day takes shape, you are choosing order over chaos. You are choosing trust over tension. You are choosing to let God lead instead of forcing your way through the hours ahead. You may not know how everything will work out today. You may not have answers yet, but you do not need them right now. What you need is presence, and presence is already here. God is closer than your next breath, closer than the thoughts circling your mind, closer than the fear you woke up with. When you thank God in the morning, you are not ignoring your struggles. You are placing them in the right hands. You are saying, I do not have to carry this alone. You are saying, I trust you with what I cannot control. And that decision changes how you walk through the day. It changes how you speak, how you respond, how you endure. This is not about rushing through a prayer. It is about anchoring your heart before the storms of the day try to pull you apart. When God comes first, clarity follows. When God comes first, peace settles in places anxiety used to dominate. When God comes first, even ordinary moments begin to carry purpose. Stay here in this moment. Let gratitude sink in. Let the presence of God steady you. The reward for staying connected is not perfection. It is peace. It is strength that does not come from effort. It is guidance that meets you one step at a time. And it begins right now in this quiet choice to put God first this morning. That quiet choice you just made is not passive. It is an act of alignment, and alignment always demands a response. When you place God first, the day begins to push back. Old habits resist. Fear tries to reclaim its seat. Distractions line up to steal your focus. This is where many people drift away, not because they do not believe, but because they underestimate how much is at stake. What you feed first thing in the morning shapes everything that follows. If you feed fear, it grows. If you feed gratitude, it strengthens you. Your mind is being trained whether you realize it or not. Every thought you accept becomes a direction. Every direction becomes a destination. That is why this moment matters more than the rest of the day combined. Putting God first is not a feeling. It is a decision repeated when the pressure rises, when stress shows up early, when your phone lights up with demands, when the past whispers doubts into your present. This is where faith stops being abstract and starts becoming active. Faith is choosing trust when anxiety feels more logical. Faith is holding on to presence when urgency tells you to rush ahead. There is a cost to ignoring this, a real one. When God is pushed aside, something else takes control. Usually fear, sometimes pride, often exhaustion. You can feel it in the way your shoulders tense, in the way your patience thins, in the way small problems feel unbearable. That is not weakness. That is misalignment. And misalignment always drains you. But when God stays first, something shifts internally before anything changes externally. You respond instead of react. You move with intention instead of panic. You begin to notice strength rising where stress used to live. This is not coincidence. It is design. The human soul functions best when it is centered on something greater than itself. Urgency matters here because this day will not wait for you to catch up. Choices are already forming. Words are already lining up to leave your mouth. Attitudes are already taking shape. If you do not anchor yourself now, the day will anchor you to whatever is loudest. And loud does not mean true. Loud does not mean right. This is why gratitude is powerful. It interrupts the cycle. It breaks the grip of autopilot. It reminds your nervous system that you are supported, that you are guided, that you are not carrying the weight alone. Gratitude is not denial. It is clarity. It tells your mind where safety actually lives. You are being invited to live this day differently, not perfectly, intentionally. To walk into moments with awareness instead of assumption, to speak from calm instead of defense, to move from trust instead of fear. This is what happens when God stays at the center. Life does not suddenly become easy, but it becomes ordered, and order creates peace. Every time you choose presence over panic today, you reinforce this alignment. Every time you pause instead of rushing, you strengthen it. Every time you trust instead of control, you deepen it. These are not small choices. They are shaping who you are becoming. And who you are becoming determines where your life is going. Do not treat this as a one-time moment. Treat it as a posture, a way of entering the day, a way of carrying yourself through pressure. When God is first, your identity stabilizes. You stop proving. You stop performing. You start walking with quiet confidence. Hat does not depend on outcomes. This is bigger than motivation. This is about direction, about deciding who leads your life before circumstances try to decide for you. You have already taken the most important step by choosing presence. Now hold on to it. Let it guide your reactions. Let it shape your thoughts. Let it define how you move forward. This day can either pull you apart or build you up. The difference is not what happens to you. It is who you put first as it happens. Holding on to that presence will be tested, and the test will come sooner than you expect. Pressure does not announce itself. It slips into ordinary moments. A conversation that tightens your chest, a thought that questions your worth, a delay that feels personal. This is where many people lose what they gained in the quiet, not because God leaves, but because focus does. The mind naturally drifts toward control when uncertainty appears. It starts calculating outcomes, replaying past failures, preparing for pain that has not happened yet. This is how peace leaks out slowly, one unchecked thought at a time. That is why urgency matters. If you do not guard what you centered this morning, it will be replaced by whatever demands your attention next. Putting God first now means choosing Him again when the moment gets uncomfortable. It means resisting the impulse to react immediately. It means pausing when everything in you wants to rush. That pause is powerful. It gives your soul time to catch up with your body. It gives wisdom room to speak louder than fear. There is more happening beneath the surface than you realize. Every time you choose trust, you are rewiring your response to stress. Every time you refuse to panic, you are teaching your nervous system that you are safe. This is not just spiritual, it is deeply human. Calm expands your capacity. Faith sharpens your judgment. Presence restores strength faster than rest alone ever could. You cannot afford to drift today. Drifting feels harmless, but it leads somewhere. It leads back to old patterns that drained you. It leads back to thinking that survival is the goal. You were not created just to get through the day. You were created to walk through it with purpose. Purpose requires intention, and intention must be renewed when resistance shows up. There will be moments today when it feels easier to forget this alignment, easier to complain, easier to withdraw, easier to numb yourself with noise. Those moments are crossroads, small ones, but decisive. What you choose there determines whether peace deepens or disappears. This is why staying aware matters more than staying comfortable. God's presence is not fragile, but your attention is. Protect it, not with effort, but with remembrance. Remember who leads you. Remember where your strength comes from. Remember that you are supported even when you feel stretched. This remembrance keeps your inner world steady, while the outer world shifts. As the day moves forward, you will notice a difference when God remains first. You will speak slower. You will listen deeper. You will respond with clarity instead of impulse. This is not you trying harder. This is alignment doing its work. When your center is right, your actions follow naturally. Do not wait for a perfect moment to reaffirm this choice. Perfection is a distraction. Choose again in the middle of imperfection. Choose a gain when things feel messy. Choose again when you feel tired. Repetition is how alignment becomes identity. Identity is how peace becomes consistent. There is something powerful about living from the inside out. When your inner world is ordered, the outer chaos loses its power over you. You stop being dragged by circumstances and start moving with direction. That direction does not come from urgency. It comes from trust. This is the deeper reward of putting God first. Not just a calm morning, but a resilient day. Not just relief, but clarity. Not just belief, but action rooted in faith. You begin to carry presence into every room, every conversation, every decision. Stay with this. Hold it tightly, not with fear, but with commitment. Let this presence shape how you move forward. The world will pull. Pressure will test you. But alignment will hold you steady. And that steadiness will change everything. That steadiness is not meant to stay hidden inside you. It is meant to be lived out, moment by moment, choice by choice. The real challenge now is not believing this truth, but embodying it when life presses harder. Because pressure reveals priorities, and what you reach for under pressure shows what truly comes first. There will be moments today when you feel stretched thin. Moments when patience feels expensive. Moments when doing the right thing feels slower than doing the easy thing. This is where putting God first becomes visible, not in silence alone, but in action, in restraint, in courage, in choosing peace when chaos feels justified. You are shaping your future self right now, not later, not someday, with every response, with every pause, with every decision to trust instead of control. Neuroscience shows that repeated choices carve pathways in the brain. Spiritually, those same choices carve pathways in the soul. What you practice today becomes who you are tomorrow. Urgency lives here because these moments pass quickly. They do not wait for confidence to arrive. They do not slow down for certainty. They require commitment in real time. If you delay alignment, distraction takes over. If you hesitate, old habits step back in. That is why staying awake to this matters. Awareness is your advantage. When God remains first, you stop outsourcing your peace to outcomes. You stop letting people, schedules, and circumstances decide your inner state. You carry stability with you. That stability becomes contagious. Others feel it in your presence. They hear it in your tone. They sense it in your restraint. This is influence without force. This is also where responsibility deepens. Knowing this truth means you can no longer pretend you are powerless. You are not a victim of your reactions. You are a steward of them. You choose what rules your attention. You choose what shapes your thoughts. You choose what guides your steps. Faith is not passive hope. It is active alignment. It is choosing to move forward even when clarity feels partial. It is trusting direction more than comfort. It is acting as if presence is enough, because it is. When you live this way, fear loses leverage. Anxiety loses momentum. Doubt loses volume. Do not underestimate how rare this is. Most people live reacting. Very few live aligned. Alignment creates space between stimulus and response. In that space, wisdom speaks. In that space, peace holds. In that space, God lead. Guard that space. It is where transformation happens. The day will continue to test you, not to break you, but to reveal what you are anchored to. Every test is an invitation to reaffirm your center, to choose again, to stay grounded. This repetition is not failure, it is formation. Strength is built through return, not perfection. You are not meant to rush through life numb and exhausted. You are meant to walk through it awake and anchored, present and guided. When God is first, your life stops feeling scattered. Pieces begin to align. Energy returns where burnout lived, meaning replaces noise. This is the point where belief turns into commitment, where intention becomes identity, where presence becomes posture. Carry this into the rest of the day with seriousness and humility. Serious because it matters. Humble because you do not carry it alone. Let your actions today reflect what you placed first this morning. Let your responses prove where your trust lives. Let your calm speak louder than your words. This is how faith becomes visible. This is how peace becomes Durable. This is how a single morning choice reshapes an entire day. Stay aligned, stay aware, stay anchored. What you are building right now is bigger than this moment, and it begins again every time you choose to put God first. That choice to stay anchored begins to reshape how you see everything. What once felt urgent starts to feel manageable. What once felt overwhelming begins to shrink, not because the day gets lighter, but because you get steadier. And steadiness is power, quiet power, the kind that does not announce itself but changes everything it touches. You will notice it when frustration tries to rise and cannot find footing. You will notice it when fear knocks and finds the door already guarded. This is what happens when God remains first. Your inner world stops being at the mercy of the outer world. You stop being pushed around by emotions you never questioned before. Awareness sharpens. Discipline strengthens. Peace deepens. This is where commitment matters most, not in moments of inspiration, but in moments of friction, when the effort feels unnoticed, when the reward feels delayed, when staying aligned feels harder than slipping back. This is where many give up, not because they lack faith, but because they underestimate consistency. But consistency is where transformation lives. Every aligned choice stacks. Every calm response builds momentum. Every refusal to react rewires your habits. You are not just surviving today. You are training your future. You are teaching yourself how to stand firm when pressure rises, how to choose clarity when confusion spreads, how to trust presence when outcomes remain uncertain. The urgency is real because life moves fast. If you do not decide who leads you, something else will. If you do not choose what shapes your thoughts, the loudest voice will take over. This is not neutral ground. This is a battleground for attention, focus, and direction. And what you protect determines what grows. When God is first, you stop chasing validation. You stop measuring your worth by productivity or approval. You move from identity, not insecurity. That shift is subtle, but it is everything. It changes how you work, how you rest, how you handle disappointment. You stop collapsing under pressure because your foundation is no longer fragile. You begin to live with intention instead of impulse, with patience instead of panic, with courage instead of avoidance. These are not traits you wait to feel ready for. They are traits you practice into existence. And practice requires repetition, over and over, especially when it feels inconvenient. There is strength in returning again and again to alignment, not once, not occasionally, but deliberately. Each return reinforces who you are becoming. Each return strengthens your center. Each return reminds you that peace is not something you find. It is something you choose. The day will keep moving. Conversations will happen. Decisions will demand answers. Do not rush through them disconnected. Bring presence into each one. Let it slow you down just enough to respond wisely. Let it steady you when emotions flare. Let it remind you that you are guided, not abandoned. This is not about isolating yourself from reality. It is about engaging reality from a grounded place, from a place of trust, from a place of order. When God stays first, your life gains structure even when circumstances feel unstable. You bend without breaking. You adapt without losing yourself. What you are building now is resilience. Not the loud kind, but the durable kind. The kind that lasts beyond motivation. The kind that hope. LDS when feelings fade. The kind that carries you through seasons, not just moments. This resilience is born from alignment, not effort. Stay alert, stay grounded, stay intentional. Each moment gives you another chance to choose presence over panic, trust over control, faith over fear. These choices compound. They shape your days. They shape your character. They shape your future. You have already stepped into something powerful by putting God first. Now let that decision echo through everything you do. Let it guide your pace. Let it shape your responses. Let it define your direction. This is not just how you start the day. This is how you live it.